Hi Mike, we should be able to pull it off. Uh, I have cheerleaders downstairs. I'm looking forward to the two telescopes. Right now, by 10 o'clock, Saturn will be close enough to the Moon that both can fit within the field of view of Seestar. My plan is to track Saturn and watch the Moon go under it and around it. So we'll be seeing a fraction of the Moon on Seestar, and I plan to do the exact reverse with Dwarf. We'll focus on the Moon, center the Moon and track the Moon and watch Saturn go around it. At this point, I do not plan to use the large telescope. Already had one accident today in Oswego when I opened the dome. Did not realize how much water was on the dome, and a bucket full came crashing down inside the observatory. Fortunately, the telescope was still inside its garbage bag, and the computers were spared except for a little bit of a few drops here and there. So I'm not going to try to do the same mistake here. So the big scope is safe. Stellina does not have a chance with the clouds. Dwarf is going to be manual. As soon as I see the Moon, move Dwarf on it and then ask it to track. And keeping my fingers crossed that Seestar will play it solve on Saturn and stay with it. I have no idea where all that water was. I looked on the roof and there was nothing. And then as soon as it started opening, it was a big whoosh. Anyway, for the technical minded folks, I did a camera dance over the past week, replaced the 585 on the Celestron Edge HD 11, replaced the 585 with the 715. And what a difference that made. The sensor on the 715 is a quarter of the size of the sensor on the 183, but both are 8 megapixel. So suddenly Saturn was twice as big. And now I'm down to only to 9 pixels per arc second, which is very, very good. The field of view is down to only 7 minutes by 4 minutes. And the 585 went onto the 16-inch Meade, and the 183 that was on the Meade is coming down onto the Lunt 50 for solar viewing. Good evening, Boring. One other big test tonight is both telescopes are operating off batteries, off external batteries, with each of them has an amp meter on it. I'm trying to measure the power consumption of every one of the telescopes so we can establish the power requirements for the new observatory. Good news today, all the paperwork is ready and it has gone to the town for a request for subdivision. We were able to get the super moon, the super blue moon, for a few minutes in between clouds. By the way, the reason they call it blue moon is Scottish in origin. They were used to having 12 months per year, and that was the exception there. And so they called it the Belu, B-E-L-U, which turned into blue, which has nothing to do with the color. I shall be back momentarily. We have a few more minutes before the moon rises. Let me go take care of the dogs. I shall return. Audio out, I'll be back. Hi Emily and welcome on board. Good to see you. We are waiting for the moon to rise, which should be another half hour. I'll be back. I'm back, the dogs appear settled. Good evening again from the Pompey Observatory. This is station identification. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do. And disclaimer, the appearance of ads does not constitute my endorsement of their content. The cloud forecast is still favorable. It's going to be broken clouds, and I am very confident that we'll be able to see the Moon and Saturn. The Moon should be rising in a few minutes, 3-4 minutes we should start seeing the Moon. So hang in there. I'm keeping Seestar under wraps for now. Until we see the Moon, there is no point in giving Seestar any false hope. Both machines are connected to portable generators, if you want to call it that. Both are operating off batteries. I want to see how much power they draw in preparation for designing the power requirements for the ultimate future home of the Pompey Observatory. Getting mains power is pretty much out of the question, so we'll be operating off portable generators. I'm trying to determine how many solar cells I will need. Yes, it is a joke to talk about solar power in upstate New York. For the folks who live in the Pacific Northwest, you probably appreciate what I'm talking about, or in Northwest England, or actually for that matter anywhere in the UK. We do see the sun occasionally, but I doubt it's going to ever be enough to provide enough power. The big rig, the Celestron Edge HD 11-inch, with its computer, the mount, the cameras, the entire package draws just about 700 milliamps at 110 volts. So we're talking about 80 watts maybe. And that is doable. The smart telescopes, Seestar, DWARF, and Stellina, they are going to be of the order of 10 to 20 watts tops. We'll see. Conjunction tonight, when the Moon rises, Saturn actually rises about 2 minutes before the Moon, and then gradually gains altitude on the Moon. And by 10 o'clock, Saturn will be less than 30 minutes away from the surface of the Moon. And by 10:30, Saturn will be right above the Moon. Trying a 2-telescope operation tonight. We'll see what that gives us. Humidity is very high. I stepped outside and it feels like rain, but there is no rain, but it's 100% humidity. So I have the dew heaters on both telescopes. At this point, I can no longer see if clouds are covering the horizon or not. For those familiar with the setup at the Pompey Observatory, we operate telescopes at 3 levels. The patio level is where the big rig is located. The first floor, Seestar tonight, and the second floor, Dwarf. So Dwarf has a clear view of the horizon right now. Dwarf is sitting on the east wing perch. Hello, Rafid Ali. Thank you for joining us. Cleaning up the background. There's a plane going by. I think I see Saturn. And I hear dog. This may be Saturn at the bottom of the frame. We will see in a couple of minutes if the moon follows. Be right back. It appears that we have some clouds over the horizon, but we're going to be playing much of the night with clouds on and off. We'll see. As soon as we get the moon, we'll launch Seestar to go look for it. Our friends in the UK will have a slightly more enjoyable conjunction between Saturn and the Moon. Actually, there'll be a total occultation. Saturn will move behind the Moon and reappear 45 minutes later. Jeannie, hello. How is Hollywood today? We're waiting for the moon to break through the clouds. What's the weather like in New Jersey, Mike? We did not have the hot problem here today. Temperature was 50 this morning. And that is in Fahrenheit, not Celsius, to our friends in the Middle East. Here comes the moon. And there is Saturn. We have moon and we have Saturn. Okay, if nothing else, we have succeeded in showing the conjunction. Now let's see how we can adjust moon track. Not yet. Let me move it just a little bit up. And we have an unfortunate reflection. Okay, that's why we have a gain of 160. Okay, we need to be able to keep them both. Right, let's see if we can send Seestar to find the moon. In the meantime, I'm going to try to get rid of that reflection. Stand by. Okay, let's restore them one at a time. Come on. Okay. And let's see what setting will allow us to see both. That should do for now. And let's go see what Seestar's problem is. Okay. It thinks the scope is at 138. The moon is in reality at just over 100. So why is it looking at the moon there? Okay, objects. See if I can convince it to go to Polaris. By the way, this is a new feature that I like a lot. It shows where the scope is going. And hopefully from Polaris we can send it to Saturn. For those just joining us, Saturn and the Moon appear clearly on the dwarf image. But if we want to see any any semblance of the Moon, Saturn is gonna dim quite a bit. So let's stay with 115 for now. And I may have to go downstairs and help Seestars. There is a good chance that Seestar is staring at the wall right now. Seestar is standing at the wall. Okay, time to put an end to that. And we're going to move it to the moon manually. There is Saturn. Okay. Now if we can convince it to go to Saturn, but accept that this is Saturn, okay, it's found Saturn, and let's bring Saturn in, and let's stick to it. No, I want Saturn. No. Hello, Victor. Hello, Elizabeth. We may just have to keep Saturn in the middle of the frame manually. I'm going to try one more thing, and that is to see if it let me stack Saturn. I just need to find a star very close to Saturn and try to go to it. So we will not be in planetary mode, but in regular star mode. Let's try Sky Atlas. So this is where the scope is, and we tell it to go to unknown. No, that can't be true. No. We are not at 232 degrees. Seestar is not happy tonight. It thinks we are at 232 degrees. Emmanuel, there is an entire metal railing next to it. Good point. I'm not going to move it now, but thank you. That's a very good point. But the part that I do not understand is why, if I ask it to track what's in the middle, it goes to the moon. We don't want the moon. Maybe if we get the moon out of the picture completely, will it track this guy? Not really, it's not tracking, it's drifting. Nope. At least DWARF is doing its job. Good afternoon, John. Thanks for joining us. Station identification, again, this is the Pompey Observatory. And if you are not subscribed to the channel, please, please, please do subscribe. Thank you. This is obviously Saturn. You can see the rings, or the big ring. And there is the moon. And these are the clouds. Thanks, Larry. In exactly 4 weeks, on September 17, we will be covering the partial lunar eclipse live from Oswego, again multiple telescopes, beginning at 7 p.m. and ending around midnight. So mark your calendars and please join us. Looks like we're going to have to do this manually, so be it. The Seestar does not have a chance at this point with plate solving. Hello again, Zena. It's the Moon and Saturn. Jeannie, thank you for joining us. It's nice to see Saturn shining through the clouds. I'm going to keep an eye on the radar. Right now we are clear. It's raining in Syracuse and in Fulton. Emmanuel, yes, I abandoned it because of the clouds. Unlikely to plate solve. If we have a clearing, I will attempt that, but it thinks it's pointing at 232 azimuth when in reality we're only at 110. So it is off by 120 degrees of where it thinks it is. Did you see what star is viable for us here? Two stars, or the two names closest, are Titan and Iapetus, both of which are Saturn moons, obviously. This is the disconcerting part. It thinks we are at 234.20, and we certainly are not. Come on. This may be a possibility, actually. Let me try that. We may have a solution here. Stand by. Let's try this. Stargazing. Skip. This may be the way to go. We just created another problem. We don't want to calibrate, thank you. We don't want to calibrate. Yes, it should. Seestar should be tracking, and it is not, for a simple reason. It has no idea what it's looking at. We're going to see if this will do the job. It's going to be interesting to see what it does here. Brightness, lower it please. We did not say blue. Okay, so much for that part. We go back to solar system. That's another thing that DWARF has done better than Seestar. The ability to track a target. DWARF does it a lot more gently and gracefully. Hi, Randy. Yes. Zena, I plan to be on till around 11 p.m. or rain, whichever comes first. The Saturn-Moon dance ends around 11 p.m. Let me check outside, see if we have anything raining yet or if it's just clouds. Just a large passing cloud. Good night, Gina. Just going to show you what's going on here. This is the cloud. So we're going to navigate through it. Not sure in which direction this big cloud is moving, but there is clear sky everywhere around it. The good news is that the winter targets are starting to show up. Orion is rising now early enough in the morning that we have a fair shot at imaging it. We did that a couple nights ago. Saturn has obviously become an evening planet. Jupiter, Uranus will be joining soon. Neptune is already an evening planet as well. The only two missing from the show right now are Venus and Mercury. They are still very, very close, hugging the sun at around sunset. And next March, we will have both a partial solar eclipse as well as a total lunar eclipse. The partial solar eclipse is March 29, and the lunar eclipse, I believe, is March 14th. Looks like we'll be getting the moon back very soon. Randy, I'm sure you remember what the Seestar app looked like when we bought it just over a year ago. So it has come a long way. But yeah, this time quite a few things are broken. Okay, we have our moon back. Not on Seestar. Where did Seestar do with the moon? There it is. We're approaching 10 o'clock, which is supposed to be the beginning of the dance. There is Saturn. For those joining us for the first time tonight, we go live at least half a dozen times per week, sometimes more. I have solar telescopes that allow me to image the sun during the day, and a multitude of nighttime scopes. You're looking at two of them right now. We also have an ample supply of clouds, and I'm waiting for the radio telescope to be set up so we can image through the clouds. That's expected to be sometime in the fall. And the forecast, according to Astrospheric. Hello, Bill. Forecast is calling for clearing skies for the next hour or so. Emmanuel, I started in elementary school, but did not get involved with astrophotography with this kind of a passion and this kind of time commitment until I retired 2-3 years ago. I built my first telescope in high school. It was a refractor. And over the years I got a variety of telescopes, but did not put camera to scope until 2020. That is one of the benefits of the lockdown. I had time to stare at the sky. Bill, I was mentioning a bit earlier that I embarked on a musical chairs game with the cameras on the telescopes. I replaced the 585, the ASI585 on the 11-inch scope with an ASI715. Both are 4K, both are 8 megapixels, except that the 585 has a sensor that is 4 times the size of the sensor on the 715. By doing that switch, the resolution on the planets doubled. And then I took the 585 and installed it on the 16-inch telescope in Oswego this morning, replacing the 183. So I went from 20 megapixels, 21 megapixels down to 8. But in return, the well depth went from 14 to 45 KE, and the size of the pixels 3 times bigger, plus the frame rate 3 times higher. And brought the 183 MC and installed it on my Lunt LS50 telescope, which gave me a much wider field of view, so the sun is no longer squeezed exactly in the field of view. So that was the 3-way shuffle. I don't know, Emmanuel, if they have a pattern in numbering their cameras, but the 385, 485, and 585 are the same camera with improvements as they progressed. I've been staying with primarily planetary cameras from them. So basically smaller pixel sizes with higher frame rates. The little use that I got out of the 715, I only got it a week ago. The little use that I've gotten out of it, I was able to sample at 200 frames per second when I was taking images of Mars, and I was happy with that frame rate. Now DWARF is tracking, and Seestar has no idea what it's doing. Thursday night, the weather forecast is looking okay. I may try to go to Oswego for the night and see what we can do with the new camera up there on the scope. Okay, time to peek outside again, see if there's rain. No rain, broken clouds, we should be able to break through them again. And one thing that Dwarf has that Seestar will never have, will never get, that's the dual camera. The ability to switch back and forth between wide angle and telephoto is very convenient. Bill, I mentioned earlier that our friends in the UK will be enjoying a total occultation of Saturn by the Moon. While we are looking at Saturn passing 25 minutes, arc minutes from the Moon, in the UK they'll be enjoying Saturn disappearing completely behind the Moon and then reappearing 45 minutes later. One other note about the difference between the 715 and the 585 cameras is that the ASI715 on my 11-inch scope will have a narrower field of view than the 585 on a 16-inch scope, even though both have the exact same number of pixels, both are 8 megapixels. And even though the 16-inch has obviously a much narrower field of view than the 11-inch. Smoke is gone. Let me pull up a map quickly. We're in the clear right now, no smoke. But you can see where the fire is starting, the smoke and coming down. Quite a few fires down in the south now. But for the past 24 hours we have been clear. Big smoke is Toronto and going north. And that big plume heading east was actually covering Europe yesterday. And now I look at three sources of weather data. Astrospheric for clouds, local radar for rain, and smoke map for smoke. Right now, tomorrow night is looking reasonably good, especially the wee hours of Thursday morning. So we'll be able to revisit with TCRB and then start tackling the winter targets. I'm anxious to see what the new camera will do with the Horsehead Nebula, which should be doable Thursday morning. We also have tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning, we're going to miss an excellent International Space Station pass. It's going to be very close to the zenith, actually at 82-degree elevation, but it's going to be cloudy. Thursday morning's pass, not stellar, it's going to be about 30 degrees. Friday morning we have two passes, and one of them goes through Polaris, very, very close to Polaris. At some point in the not too distant future, I plan to attempt International Space Station on the Meade 16 to see how much more details we can get. Jeannie, I have several videos of the International Space Station. Actually, I have a playlist dedicated to International Space Station and Chinese Space Station that you can certainly look at. In the meantime, this was one of my recent captures of the ISS. That was the first time I was able to get all 8 solar panels to appear separately and distinct. But I know I can do better, but we'll get there. The radar is confirming that we're going off the air by 11. Don't know how much weight one puts in it, but they're showing the rain and thunderstorms reaching us at 11. So with a lot of luck we will have a break in the clouds between now and then to revisit the Moon and Saturn. A few days ago I posted a tongue-in-cheek video of a fly over the Moon, a close-up that shows the Moon moving with the telescope stationary. It was about a minute and a half, and one of the viewers observed what I did not notice, namely something flying across the Moon, and she posted a comment that she saw something fly across the Moon between 1 minute and 3 seconds and 1 minute and 4 seconds on the video. So I went back and she was absolutely correct. I had not noticed it. So I played the video back frame by frame and I could not tell what that thing was. It was not an insect or a bird because it was flying straight line. It did have what looked like either solar panels or wings. So it could have been a plane and it could have been a satellite. Because the video was taken during daytime, there were no lights. I could see No, the one that you saw, Genie, was a plane. And I have that one. But let me pull that other one up quickly. This one and somewhere around here nope. Let me see if I can play it at much slower speed. There it is, right here. I'm going to see if I can get rid of the red line. There it is moving across. Let's try it again. Pay attention the next couple seconds. There it goes. So I labeled it officially as a UFO. Genie, let me see if I can pull up the one that you saw. Yep, there it is. 1 second. This is the one that you saw. Let's do it again. There it is. And Bill was not there to tell us which flight it was. That was definitely a plane. .30, this should have been the peak of the conjunction, Saturn closest to the Moon. Yeah, you were correct, Jeannie. That was indeed a plane. We may or may not break out of these clouds. Incidentally, one of the big benefits coming from DWARF III is the ability to adjust the exposure on the wide-angle lens. So it could be used for deep sky object imaging at a field of view of about 50 degrees. Bill, I turned in all the paperwork today for the subdivision of the new property, and now we wait for the town planning board and zoning board to meet on September 16, and then they will start a 30-day public hearing period, having identified the 128 neighbors that would have a say, except all but one of them are 6 feet under, as in the cemetery next door. So there's only one neighbor within the 1,000 feet as required by code, who has to be consulted and has all of 30 days to get back to us with any objection. And then if all goes as planned, we should be popping champagne for Halloween with the big inauguration of the new home of the Pompey Observatory. Unfortunately, by the time we close, we will have missed the window for pouring concrete, and we're going to have to wait till April or thereabouts. They will not pour concrete if the temperature is below 50 degrees. And then we'll have to look at the security versus safety trade-offs. Don't want any kids getting hurt trying to get in, yet don't want any kids getting in. The rule of thumb is, if you're looking to buy a house, to go visit the neighborhood at all times of day and night to find out, to get an idea of what goes on. So I attempted to do the same, and I discovered that the cemetery, at least behind the cemetery, is a popular parking place. So I may have company during stargazing. Except I'll be the one with the telescopes. Bill, I'd very much like a circular slab. If I can convince the contractor to give me a circular slab with a circular observatory in the middle, it'll look a lot more elegant. I don't know if I showed you the observatory that I have in mind. There we go. While we await the clouds to move, I can show you the observatory. That's what it's going to look like. And if we scroll down a bit, it is about 12 foot, 10 foot high. The dome itself is 8 foot in diameter. And this is a bird's eye view. And there's a lot of storage in those ugly things sticking out of it. The one decision that I've not made yet is the kind of dome. If I'm going with the clamshell or with this kind. The clamshell has big advantages, especially for outreach, because kids can be standing inside and looking out at what the telescope is looking at. Whereas the slot type, they will be unable to see what's outside unless they step outside. And then there's another issue here. The main reason I'm going on top of that mountain is to be able to look straight at the horizon. And the one with the slot does not allow me to look at the horizon unless my scope is a lot higher. I don't like that thing here. So these are the two configurations. I do like the extra storage. That's where the monitors and the computers and the lawnmower and everything else will be sitting. And this is an interesting thing, is they will deliver it pre-assembled in a 20-foot container. And I don't know if they let me keep the container or not. We'll see. Larry, I am surprised. Wayne Parker responds to my emails within minutes. Bill, I'm still debating on the full remote operation at this point. It is fully remote operation capable, but the LIMFAC is going to be the power requirements. I may end up going with a two-step process, getting it fully remote operation capable without the controls initially, until I figure out what the power requirements are. "5G cell phone internet connectivity there is outstanding. I'm able to get 500 megabit per second downloads and about 100 megabit per second upload. And that's on my cell phone, which is outstanding. But I don't have electricity. And that is one set of data that I've not been able to get. Tonight I'm measuring power usage of two of the telescopes. Right now, the most practical way to get power, not the clamshell one, the clamshell is not motorized. The other one is motorized. For those of you familiar with the Jackery, they are extremely portable to the point where I can charge it at home, bring it with me, get a full night of imaging, and then take it back home to charge it. It's only a matter of finding the proper capacity. By the way, today I heard a joke about Teslas. My son drives a Tesla, and apparently somebody said the Tesla is like diarrhea. In both cases, you wonder if you're going to make it home. So, yeah, Larry, that's exactly what I'm looking at, is what capacity would I need to carry the entire setup all night and then just take it back home with me. I mean, it could be sitting in the trunk of the car. I don't even have to take it out. Just plug in it, run the entire operation, and then take it home. And I will need a small something in there 24/7 for the security part. I plan to have a camera, a security camera, accessible remotely to keep an eye on the place. If nothing else, just as a deterrent. The 300 watt is on sale on Amazon today for less than $200, $179 I think. I shall get on their mailing list. Another unlikely source of portable power is Ryobi. They make an AC adapter. I have one actually. That's what I'm running the Seestar with, using the regular batteries. And it is fairly good. Where's the moon? I like the jackery that comes on wheels. It's like a suitcase or a rollerboard, and it is multi-thousand watts. There's the moon. Larry, the jackery that you have, did you get a solar panel with it? Or do you plug it and charge it at home and then take it with you? They are DC generators. This is what we're talking about, Bill. It's a portable thing, and you plug in it. You have AC sine waves as well as USB outputs, as well as cigarette lighters, and they come in all sorts of capacities. This is 1,000 watt, and you can either charge them with a solar cell or plug them into the wall and charge them at home. Yeah. They end up being, in round numbers, just about $1 per watt. This is the one that I like. It's a 3,000 watt, and you pull it behind you on wheels. And right now it makes a lot more sense. I don't see me setting up solar panels to charge them and leave them there when I could just take it home and plug it in the wall. We're coming uncomfortably close to the rain. There's one more possible break in the clouds if we don't catch it. Yes. This is the Ryobi that I was talking about. Very portable, and you can use any Ryobi battery in it. It's 300 watts, and I have one of these. I got it a long time ago, and I use in it the batteries that I use for my lawnmower and my chainsaw and my leaf blower and my hedge trimmer. Just plug it in and it gives me USB-A, USB-C, as well as regular power. That's what I'm doing. I'm running the Seestar from the Ryobi power generator. And the Seestar is still running at 100%. I put a little USB meter between the Ryobi and the Seestar, so I can measure how much current and how many amp hours it used for the 2 hours that we have been live with the Seestar. Just to give me an estimate. I foresee a scenario where the big scope will be running inside the observatory with 2 or 3 little scopes scattered around the concrete slab, doing their own thing at the same time. And ideally, I'd like to have only one power source to power everything. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid the radar has updated the storm and it is within 2 minutes from here. That's something I like about AccuWeather. It tells you when rain is starting. So I'm going to bid you all a safe good night. I'm going to scramble to bring my hardware in, and should be back online tomorrow night for some imaging. So in the meantime, thank you all. Good night. I have to run.